Welcome in, hockey fans. I'm back here at the Air Force Academy. You can see the logos behind me. You can see who I got with me. I got the Director of Hockey Operations, Chad Demers, with me. He's way more than that, folks. I'm telling you right now. I watched this guy play at Grafton-Park River way back when. Now you're back. You played at Air Force. You got done at Air Force. Now you're back at Air Force.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, back as in a different capacity with Director of Hockey Operations, working a lot with the staff here, helping in any way that Frank asked me to, and I'm loving it and like where our team is at right now.
One of those things he asked you is to be on the bench, and I know you're in his ear and he's in your ear quite a bit. Last Saturday night he gave us a quote. He said, hey, before the start of overtime, I reached over to Demi and I said, Shills isn't going to let us lose this game. Is that true?
That is true. Yeah, he had a lot of confidence in that moment. I think I found some wood to knock on at the time, but he was right about it. Just the way that game had gone, kind of all the stars aligning as far as Alex Schilling being our only senior, it being senior night, his last game in the building, how he had played up to that point. That game really couldn't have gone any other way.
Right. Yeah, I said that same thing when I saw him warming up. I said, Shills is different tonight. He's locked in. I watched him through each period. One of the things that caught me, Demi, was I saw him jostling with guys in front of the net. There'd be one guy waiting while the puck was behind the net, and Shills was poking him with his stick. And I'm going like, oh, he's dialed in.
Yeah, maybe that's just a way for him to stay engaged in the game as a goalie, I guess, especially if you're not seeing a lot of rubber. You got to find other ways to stay involved.
You know, I think I know you well enough to know that you're really into development. You like to help guys develop and watch them improve their games. I watched you get really good in high school in North Dakota and moved on to Air Force. But tell me about the development of this Air Force team.
Yeah, I mean, as you're aware, we have a really young team. We don't have a ton of experience, but we've continued to improve pretty much week by week throughout the season, and that was our goal. Coming into the beginning of the season, as you've heard from Frank say in many interviews, like this group has exceeded expectations. They were picked to finish 9 out of 10 in our league. We were able to get that first round bye, which was a goal of ours, and it's just a maturation process. As far as I think even we did finish in the top 6. We left some points on the table, and part of that was not closing out games, giving up third period leads, losing in overtime, that sort of thing. So we're happy that we secured that bye. We were hoping we wouldn't have to do it on the last night of the regular season, but hopefully that's something that this group has learned from, and then going forward into the most important part of the season, hopefully we'll be better in that area and we'll be able to close out some playoff games here.
Is that something hockey players learn, or is that something that just starts to evolve in their maturity process?
I think you can learn it. There's teaching that comes with it. And we review those moments, those late game moments, with our team, and show how we could have been more effective, what we could have done differently. And once you've been in that moment and you understand what it takes and how to manage it, how to manage pucks in that situation, how to defend properly, take a chance offensively when you can at the right time. It is something that over time, when they've been in that situation, then they see it through video. Coach Doyle coaches them up on it. Next time they're in that situation, they'll be better for it.
Okay, let's take a quick break. Let's come back and let's talk about your return to Air Force.
Sounds good.
We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Really, JR? You think you can still do this?
I'm focused.
You're way too old to hit that target from there.
I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded.
All right, still got it. Still got it.
Who's old now?
I'm back at Air Force. I've got Chad Demers with me, the director of hockey operations. I alluded earlier to watching you play in high school and what a talent you were on the ice. Then you came to Air Force. Then some things changed in your life, and I look at you right now, Chad, and I go, oh my goodness, you are a model of how do I say it, motivation, you name it, for what you've been through, what you're going through, and how you continue to persevere.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I wasn't aware until you let me know that you watched me play in high school back with the Grafton-Park River Spoilers, by the way, 2008 state champions. Shout out to them. And then from there I went to the Fargo Force. I played there for 3 years. It was actually where I was coaching these previous 3 years before I got the job at Air Force. So spent 6 years total in Fargo. Then came out here as a player. Played 4 years here for Frank and for Bergie. We're here all 4 years, and then Coach Doyle was here for 2 of the 4 years. So I'm really coming back to work with the staff that I once played for, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of familiarity there. You know, whenever you take a new job, similar when I went to Fargo, even though I had played there, I didn't really know any of those guys who were on staff at the time. Everybody had moved on. So coming back here was a little easier, getting to know everybody, and I already knew them, so a little different capacity, but obviously knew Frank's personality and had a really close relationship with him. And when, and like you alluded to, you had some life-changing events, being diagnosed with brain cancer just about 3.5 years ago. And, Frank was one of the first people that reached out to me when that happened. And that's, we've stayed close throughout this whole time. And so when the opportunity to come back here and work for him and his staff, it was a no-brainer. It was a good career opportunity, and also just when you have people like that who are supportive of you and care about you, kind of when you're in your darkest times, it's easy to want to work for those guys.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me at all with Frank. He's just that kind of personality. But and of course, coming to Colorado Springs, there are tougher places to go than this beautiful place. That's but so as you're dealing with everything, you told me on the podcast what it was like and how it all came about. And one of the things that caught my eye this year was they did a brain cancer awareness for a basketball player here at Air Force and yourself. And I thought, man, that's really cool of Air Force to reach out and at least bring more awareness to it. I think it's something that doesn't get enough attention. And now you're living it.
Yeah. No, that was a great deal that they had. The superintendent really backed it. General Clark was the one who got it going for one of our recent graduates who was a men's basketball player who also has brain cancer and is going through treatment and all. Just finished his last, I think it was his radiation treatment when they did that. And Dave Toller, our sports information director here, knew that this campaign was going on, and he reached out and said, well, hey, we have somebody on our staff who's going through the same thing, who's also a grad from here. Maybe we can combine the two and make it an event. So, they did a gray out at the rink. And then our staff actually, along with wearing gray, if those who have seen me on the bench, I right now I'm wearing a hat. I wear a hat because I have a medical device on my head pretty much at all times. So I wear a scally cap on the bench just so I don't stand out too much. Although that probably makes me stand out just as much. But so Frank and Joe and Andy, they all wore scally caps as well, kind of in support of me, and it's something I really appreciated. And it's just as far as brain cancer itself, I do think it is a cancer that flies a little bit under the radar, and it's one of the most severe cancers there are out there. There's not a lot of treatment options, which is unfortunate, really. And there's different types of brain cancer. The kind that I have is called glioblastoma. There hasn't been many advances in the treatment in the past 30 years, and so any support, donations to research, that sort of thing. It really can go a long ways, and that's something that me and my family are always trying to stay on top of is what's the next best thing out there? Where is it? Who's developing it? As far as it might be immunotherapy treatment or vaccines or whatever it might be, we're always looking out for the next best thing and just really trying to hang on as long as we can until some better treatment does come out.
So you've been dealing with this, like you said, for 3.5 years now, and to me, you're going to beat this thing. And the reason I think so is what I'm looking at right now. I mean, you're positive. You're influencing other people. I saw your family the other night down in the locker room. Everybody's on your side, and you're just not ready to throw in the towel, are you?
No, I'm not. To be honest with you, I don't really have a choice. Like there was, when I was first diagnosed. So how it works is, they find the tumor. They don't know how severe it is. Yeah. You go, you kind of waiting to hear. And then once we got information that it was a grade 4 glioblastoma, which is, the kind of worst case scenario, there's still each brain tumor is a little bit different. There are different mutations that people have. Well, at the time, they didn't know if I had any mutations. So I, no kidding, sat in that doctor's office with my family, and was told, like, hey, people diagnosed with this, it's 2 years or less. And, I was 27 at the time, had my 6-month-old son, and that was it. Now I have 3 kids, thank God. That's awesome. But, it was devastating. And all of a sudden, we're like, well, let's make the most of our time. And you start planning, like, what do we want to do here with the time we have left? And then a couple weeks after that, the remaining pathology report came in, and they found that the type of tumor I had a specific mutation. Okay. It was called IDH mutated. And all that really means is that the progression of the cancer is slower. Okay. And now they're even looking at where it should almost be classified as its own type of cancer. Okay. And that mutation it only occurs in about 5% of tumors. So I got really lucky. So at that point, knowing I had a little longer runway, my wife Danica and I just decided, like, we're just gonna live our life as if I didn't have this condition. Sure. And because what else are we going to do? And who knows? I might be here 2 years. I might be here 20 years. And I don't want to sit around. I don't want to sit around waiting to die. Like, right. I want to live. Yeah. And so that's what we decided to do. I wanted to work in hockey. I wanted to coach this game. And I started doing that in Fargo, getting my foot in the door and working my way up just like I would have if I didn't have brain cancer. And so that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, we've been blessed with 2 more kids since then. So things are looking up, and we're just going to continue doing what we're doing.
All right, let's take one more quick break. Let's come back and let's talk about the future.
Sounds good.
Really, JR, you think you can still do this?
I'm focused.
You're way too old to hit that target from there.
I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded.
All right, still got it. Still got it.
Who's old now?
Welcome back in, hockey fans. Still at Air Force. Still got Chad Demers with me. I want to talk about the future, but first I want to step back to those days in Grafton-Park River because, man, you opened my eyes. I was covering North Dakota hockey. We all know there's not a lot of hockey, but, boy, is there a lot of talent there. Tell me about Grafton-Park River.
Yeah, so Grafton is a small town, about 4,500 people. Park River, I couldn't even tell you the population, probably around 1,000. So it's a co-op. And it's got really strong hockey tradition. Actually, my brother coaches the high school team there now, and we were looking at all the state tournament appearances they have on the wall there. And from, I think it was like 1963 to 2013, they missed the tournament like 4 times, and they won 5 state championships. So as a kid growing up there, like that's what you aspired to be, is you wanted to be a great high school player and a state champion high school player. And for me, it was kind of the same deal. I didn't really look much beyond that until I met that goal, and then things kind of started to change. But yeah, it's awesome. The whole town supports it. The community gets behind it, like they do with all their sports. But just hockey's a little bit different in that town. You play, it's not like you see out here where you're playing for clubs and kids are jumping from team to team. You play with the same group of buddies all the way up. So you start as termites together, and then it culminates in high school. And lucky enough, my junior year, we were able to win the state championship. There was a sign leaving town, said "Last one to leave, turn off the lights." Yeah, and so we had a big caravan down to Ralph Engelstedt Arena in Grand Forks, and we ended up winning a triple overtime game against Grand Forks Red River, and that ended up being the last high school game I played. But it was a nice way to go out.
Okay, so that's the history of that. I got to ask you, though, before you ended up at Air Force, was the gravitational pull to be a Sioux at one point? Did you want to be a Sioux?
I did want to be a Sioux, but they didn't want me. That was the problem. That was the problem. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing growing up in that area. Like that's, I always wanted to play for the Fighting Sioux, and then, it just didn't happen. They didn't come calling. So I had to find my next best option, which happened to be at this place, which turned out pretty good.
Absolutely. You're back here with family now. You're living life to the fullest every day. I can just tell by the smile on your face every time I see you. You're enjoying yourself. What's the future? What do you want to do beyond today, tomorrow, the next day? I know you're taking it one day at a time, but what does Chad Demers want to accomplish?
It's a good question. I want to continue working in hockey, and I think college hockey is most likely where I'd want to be. Just as far as, when we get back to the cancer thing, just briefly, when that happens, it puts a lot of things into perspective, and a lot of other things become more important to you than hockey or your job or what that is. And what I like about college hockey is there is a really good balance of work and life. And I am, we travel a fair bit, as you do in this job with kind of anywhere, but pro hockey is a different deal. You're gone a lot, and that's even junior hockey you travel quite a bit, but at least you're home during the week, and that's an important thing for me. Spending time with my family, seeing my kids, and making the most of that time. So I think college hockey is somewhere that I'd like to stay, but you never know. Things change. Opportunities may come, may not. So just like you said, take each day at a time and try to put myself in the best position to be able to make those decisions as they come.
Very well said. I don't know if I could have said it any better. I will tell you right now, I've told you before, you're a motivation to me, because every time I get up and I've got an ache and a pain somewhere, I go, forget about it, man. Forget about it, because you got nothing versus what you have to deal with. So I am extremely proud of you. I'm proud to call you a friend. I hope you can call me a friend as well. And best of luck in the future. We're going to be hanging on and following you all the way.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And just want to give a shout out to all the other people who may be watching or going through cancer treatment themselves. Just keep fighting, push through it. There's better days to come.
Absolutely. Couldn't be said better by anyone better than Chad Demers. Thanks, Chad. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.